The pain that words can't touch.
There are few pains more cutting, more unforgettable than betrayal. Not the kind that stings for a moment and fades away, but the kind that shakes you to your very core, the kind that makes you question everything, the kind that rewrites your story. Betrayal doesn't just break your heart. It changes your worldview, scars your trust, and poisons your ability to feel safe around others. And sometimes, the ones who betray us are the very people we swore we could never live without. In the Stoic tradition, where peace of mind and integrity take precedence over revenge or reconciliation, betrayal is not just a test, it's a revelation. It's not about who they are, it's about who you are after they've shown their true nature. When someone crosses a line they can't uncross, Stoicism doesn't tell you to forget or fix. It teaches you to rise above, detached but not indifferent, hurt but not destroyed. Today on Beyond Vision Mindset, we're going deeper than ever before. We'll explore 3 of the most devastating forms of betrayal: disloyalty, deception, and broken trust, and why these are not simply offenses but soul-altering violations that should never be excused. This is for every person who's ever felt blindsided by someone they once trusted with their life. If you've been betrayed, if your heart has been shattered by the ones you never thought would hurt you, then this isn't just content, it's your story. Stay with me, and together, we'll turn your pain into power. But before we begin, take a moment to subscribe to Beyond Vision Mindset. Share your thoughts in the comments. You don't just watch here, you heal, you grow, and you evolve. 1. Disloyalty. The ultimate violation of trust. Disloyalty isn't just an action, it's a declaration. A person doesn't betray you by accident, they betray you by choice. And the moment they do, they are silently telling you, you mattered less than my impulse. You were disposable. That pain? It's deeper than anger. It's the silence after the storm, the cold realization that someone you defended, someone you would have bled for, was willing to cut you the moment it served them. Think about the friend who shared your secrets not because they slipped, but because they needed attention. The partner who broke your trust, not once but in a cycle that started with a lie and ended with an apology until it happened again. The family member who smiled at your face while scheming behind your back. Loyalty is the invisible glue that holds every connection together. Without it, even love becomes hollow, and words become meaningless. The Stoics didn't preach loyalty as a sentimental virtue. They saw it as the very foundation of human dignity. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." That means you don't return their betrayal, you rise above it. You walk away not because you're weak, but because you refuse to be dragged down to their level. Here's the hard truth. When someone shows you they are disloyal, you owe them nothing. Not your time, not your forgiveness, not your continued presence. You owe it to yourself to protect your peace. Letting them stay, that's not mercy, that's self-betrayal. And the longer you allow them in your life, the more you teach yourself that your boundaries don't matter. Disloyalty is not a mistake, it's a habit. And if you forgive it, you're not being noble. You're telling them, do it again, I'll still be here. So here's your Stoic reminder. Walk away without a war. Walk away without an announcement. Just leave. And in that silence, find your strength. Deception. The poison that destroys relationships. A lie is not just the opposite of truth. It's a weapon. One that's aimed not at your mind, but at your heart. When someone lies to you, they're not just choosing dishonesty. They're choosing to control you, to manipulate your version of reality, and to steal your clarity. There's a reason deception feels like insanity, because it makes you doubt your intuition. You start second-guessing your memories, your instincts, and eventually, yourself. And that's the most dangerous outcome of all. People lie for all kinds of reasons, to hide guilt, to avoid accountability, to gain advantage. But behind every lie is one simple truth. They didn't care enough to be real. They chose comfort over courage. And you? You were just collateral damage in their story. The Stoics valued truth as the root of all inner peace. Seneca warned that the one who lies to others will eventually lie to himself. That's the downward spiral. 2. Deception, the poison that destroys relationships. A lie is not just the opposite of truth. It's a weapon, one that's aimed not at your mind, but at your heart. When someone lies to you, they're not just choosing dishonesty. They're choosing to control you, to manipulate your version of reality, and to steal your clarity. There's a reason deception feels like insanity, because it makes you doubt your intuition. You start second-guessing your memories, your instincts, and eventually, yourself. And that's the most dangerous outcome of all. People lie for all kinds of reasons, to hide guilt, to avoid accountability, to gain advantage. But behind every lie is one simple truth. They didn't care enough to be real. They chose comfort over courage. And you were just collateral damage in their story. The Stoics valued truth as the root of all inner peace. Seneca warned that the one who lies to others will eventually lie to himself. That's the downward spiral of deception. But Stoicism also teaches this. Your job is not to fix the liar. Your job is to free yourself. If someone has lied to you once, they've told you who they are. If they've done it repeatedly, they've told you who you are to them, nothing but a tool, a pawn in their version of the truth. Stop trying to decode their intentions. Stop hoping they'll change. The moment they lied, they made their decision. Now it's time for you to make yours. Accept that deception is not a mistake, it's a mindset, and those who lie often live in a false world where they're always the hero and everyone else is an obstacle. Let them live in that illusion. But you walk away into truth, into peace, into a world where your reality is no longer shaped by someone who sees you as a game piece. 3. Broken trust, the irreparable damage that ends all bonds. Trust is sacred. It's not just given, it's built. Layer by layer, moment by moment, through time, effort, and vulnerability. And when it's broken, it doesn't shatter like glass. It disintegrates like dust. The most painful betrayal isn't always loud or violent. Sometimes it's the quiet discovery, the late-night texts, the half-truths, the empty apologies. It's in the realization that while you were defending them in rooms you weren't even in, they were tearing you apart in conversations you'll never hear. Broken trust doesn't just end a relationship, it ends an era. It marks a before and after. And in the after, you are no longer the same person. You are more guarded, more skeptical, more aware. Not because you're bitter, but because you learned the cost of unguarded faith. People say, give second chances. But here's what Stoicism teaches. Once trust is broken, the relationship is no longer what it was. Even if you rebuild, the cracks remain. And sometimes, trying to glue the pieces back together is just a slow way of cutting yourself on the same shattered glass. Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. When someone betrays your trust, your job isn't to save them. It's to save yourself from future pain, from repeated wounds, from a cycle that eats away at your soul. Ask yourself, would you drink from a well you know is poisoned just because it once quenched your thirst? Would you enter a burning house just because it used to feel like home? No, you wouldn't. So don't. There is no honor in staying loyal to someone who has already made a choice to dishonor you. There is no strength in forgiving someone who's only sorry they got caught. Forgiveness is noble, but only when it doesn't require you to sacrifice your peace. Seneca once said, "He who spares the guilty punishes the innocent." When you let someone back into your life after they've broken your trust without remorse or change, you aren't just hurting yourself. You're hurting the future you, who deserves better. Conclusion. The Stoic path to peace. Not everyone deserves a second chance. Not every betrayal deserves closure. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is to walk away. Not with rage, but with indifference. To let them feel your absence more than they ever valued your presence. Disloyalty, deception, broken trust. These aren't just actions, they're revelations. They show you who they are and who you need to become. Your healing begins the moment you stop expecting loyalty from those who gave you reasons to doubt it. Your peace begins when you cut off the noise, the chaos, the people who treat your heart like it's disposable. This is your story, your strength, your rebirth. If this message reached into your soul, if you felt like these words were speaking directly to your heart, then speak back. Comment your truth. Share your scars. And remember, you're not alone. Subscribe to Beyond Vision Mindset, and let this be your sanctuary for growth, wisdom, and emotional mastery. Like this video, share it with someone who needs it, and never forget, the strongest move is not revenge, it is indifference. Walk away, don't explain, don't argue, don't look back, because real strength is silent, and your peace, that's priceless.